Yes, guys, welcome back to the Irish Hotspur with your boy Big Dave, bringing you your predicted lineup as Tottenham start their FA Cup quest and hope to put an end to a 33-year wait for an FA Cup trophy as they host Premier League rivals Burnley at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in 17. And I cannot wait. There's a magical feeling in the air. That's what the FA Cup weekend does for fans. Please let me know in the comment below what your favourite FA Cup memory as a Spurs fan is down the years. Now, going into this game, of course, we're missing a lot of players. I think we're missing up to 10 players. Catch me on the pre-match build-up tomorrow, and I'll run through exactly who we're missing. But look, there is a bit of a debate going into this one. Does Postecoglou go full strength and go for the FA Cup? No, Europe. We've got a free run at the competition. Or do you give fringe players an opportunity to play, which is traditionally what these sort of early round ties are used for? However, it has come back to bite Tottenham in the ass in years gone by in cup competitions, even as earlier as what was it, August, September, when we played Fulham in the Carabao Cup, came back to bite us in the ass. So what do you do if you're Ange Postecoglou? Please let me know in the comment section what you would do going into tomorrow's game. Just quickly, if I do sound a bit off, I've had a dose all week, been congested, flued up. I am getting better, and I will be back tomorrow for the watch along, so make sure you tune in for that. But look, let's get into the lineup that I hope will take Tottenham through to the fourth round of the FA Cup. Now, we will start in goals. Again, a bit of a debate. I've seen some sort of sources saying Vicario will probably start and even might be given the captaincy tomorrow heading out there. However, for me, I think I'm going to go with Fraser Forster. I do think Ange Postecoglou will put his trust into Fraser Forster. Now, for me, look, there's sort of a bit of a debate going on here. When you've got Vicario, with how poor that back line is due to the availability and the options, he's always an out ball. You can go back to him and he can pick sort of passes beyond that back line into the midfield, beyond the Burnley press. And maybe Fraser Forster can't do that, as we've seen in the FA Cup game. When it went back to him, maybe he doesn't have that ability on the ball. However, in the FA Cup game, he pulled off some fine saves. He is the backup goalkeeper. They've tied him down out here for another year. And for me, I think it would be good just to give Vicario a little bit of a rest, play for Fraser Forster. I have no problems with him being in goals. I don't think he'll cost us any goals in that regard. And I thought he was absolutely sensational last season between the sticks, pulling off saves and stuff like that. And that's ultimately what a goalkeeper is supposed to do. So for me, I'd have no problem putting in Fraser Forster into the goals tomorrow. Now, moving on to right back, and I'll start right back because it's the easiest position. Now, look, this is a guy I'd love to give a rest to. He's played the most minutes out of any Spurs player this season, I think, alongside Vicario, and I think Kulusevski maybe up until his suspension was in there. But you know what? I think we have no option but to play Pedro Porro, and he's been absolutely superb this season. And for me, he could be absolutely crucial tomorrow, getting on that ball in the midfield, a bit like what he done against Burnley earlier on in the season, spraying them balls over the top. I remember him playing a delightful one for Sonny against Burnley. Also played a delightful one for Richarlison against Newcastle. And I think he can offer us something similar in that regard. So for me, I put him back in at right back just purely for his set piece deliveries, his crossing ability, and also that ability to be able to find passes from the halfway line in over the back line, give us something bit different to be able to break them down. Now, moving on to left back. I know people might be surprised with this, but I have gone with Emerson Royal, and the reason why is that Dozie received a bit of attention for a bit of a knock towards the end of the last game, that win over Bournemouth. And I just don't want to risk him, quite frankly. I think, look, take him out of the side, rest him for that Man United game and make sure he's fully fit, ready and available to go. With Emerson, I think he's been an absolute quality backup this season right across that back line, has sort of very rarely put a foot wrong. And I think, as shown, he's capable of filling in at left back with minimal damage in that position with him coming in. So for me, I would play him there. And also, I know a lot of people grate on him about going forward and stuff like that, but I think when he played there against, what was it, Everton, I think. Could it have been Everton? One of the games anyway, he was absolutely superb. I think it was Everton, put a great ball across for Richarlison. He just didn't take his opportunity. But he can definitely play down that side for me. So I'd bring him in and just give Destiny Dozie a rest. Now, moving on to left side centre-back, of course, the other option you could do is move Davies out to the left, play Emerson in at centre-back. However, Davies, for me, the reason why he hasn't featured that left back at times this season is purely because he doesn't have the legs to play that position anymore. And for me, I think this is one of his last opportunities to really show what he can offer this Tottenham squad. And I think he has to have an absolute unbelievable game. He's played in a lot of these sort of cup games in years gone by, and he's really let us down in a lot of them. Him, Dyer, and others who have since gone sort of at the heartbeat and have played in every single one of them. So for me, I do feel a bit nervous selecting him in this game because of that sort of history. And I've no doubt every time he takes the pitch, he's also expecting the worst, which can put a negative sort of mindset on him. However, we don't have the options. I know that Postecoglou is alluding that Van de Ven may be back. If he is, I mean, that'd be an absolute godsend, a sign from the Lord, put him straight back in. However, again, I would say to him, just get yourself ready for the Man United game. And I know what people are going to say, Dave, don't be overlooking Burnley. I'm not overlooking Burnley. I think we should have more than enough with the team I put out to be able to beat them. So, look, let's get into Ben Davies' partnership. And for me, I have gone with Ashley Phillips. Now, of course, I'd love to see Dorrington rewarded, come through the academy from such a young age all the way through. And I'd love to see him rewarded. However, I know what Ashley Phillips, Ange Postecoglou was due to give him an opportunity before he got that injury away on international duty. He does have experience in the Championship. He's played a couple of cup games for Blackburn before as well. So for me, I think you might actually see Ashley Phillips slot in beside of Ben Davies, because I do think we need that natural centre-back in that position. Ashley Phillips, he's okay on the ball. He can progress the ball. He's proven that in the under-21s. But I just need someone who can defend, who's a natural centre-back, who's good in the air. And Ashley Phillips ticks all them boxes. Yes, it's going to be a big step up, but if you don't give him an opportunity now, when are you going to give him that opportunity? And I just think it might come against Burnley tomorrow. So let me know your thoughts on that back line. Is there any sort of changes you would make to it? Let me know in the comment section below. Now we'll move into the midfield. And of course, we'll start with the holding midfielder. And I do think Rodrigo Bentekers, a.k.a. Ben 10, will be back in that position. I know a lot of people will be screaming, Højbjerg, Ollie Skip. However, with Ollie Skip, absolutely atrocious, useless. I don't want to see him anymore, to be honest with you, unless he comes out with a better performance than what we've seen over recent weeks. And when it comes to Højbjerg, he's on his way out of the club. So I don't think Ange Postecoglou will play him. I do think he'll play Bentancur, look to get the game over nice and early and maybe pull players off later on in the game, a bit like what we saw against sort of Bournemouth. I said before the game with Bentancur, there's no way he's fit for the full 90. The plan is to look to get the game over and done with and pull him off. However, that wasn't the case, but we still grounded out. But hopefully this time round, we can get the job done nice and early. So just that my blood pressure doesn't have to get so high. But Bentancur, absolutely brilliant to see the guy back. What a surprise inclusion last week. And look, just get more minutes into his legs, get the feel of the ball and get ready for that Man United game. Now, moving on to the right side of midfield. I have gone with Dejan Kulusevski. And there's a number of reasons why I've put him there. Of course, with Papa Matasar heading off to AFCON, that leaves you again with Skip Højbjerg. Skip last week I thought was absolutely atrocious. Sort of, the guy may as well have been in Disneyland. He was just walking around like that with his head up in the air. Game bypassed him pretty much. So for me, I think Kulusevski has to come in. But not only that, when you look at Papa Matasar and what he offers in this position, he covers that right-hand side an awful lot. And that's something you have to want to do. That's something that has to be within you. And for me, Kulusevski is the next best player that can sort of offer that work rate in that position, being able to cover down that right-hand side so we don't get exposed down there, but also good enough to get on the ball, drive at players, take them out, run at them, create openings. And again, I think in the Premier League, he's the player that has created the most chances from open play. So for me, I want to see him back through that middle, playing in that position, just because I think he'll have the best work rate out of all the midfielders to be able to offer similar to what Papa Matasar does, because Sarr will be a huge, huge loss in terms of the amount of times he gets around and turns over that ball for us. Now, moving on to the left side of the midfield tree, and I have gone with Giovanni Lo Celso. Look, he's done all right the last couple of weeks. Done all right. And look, hopefully we get another sort of good, solid performance out of him today. Look, he's very good for me at sort of progressing that ball up towards the final third. I would like to see him maybe grab the game by the scruff of the neck a bit more in that final third when he does get on that ball in and around the edge of the box. Sometimes I feel he's too passive and he's just happy to move it 5 yards sometimes. For me, I want to see him do what Madison does. Get on that ball, first instinct, look up. Can you play someone in over top? Can you play someone in behind? Can you run at players? Can you have a shot? If not, lay it off to someone else in a better position to try and create. But I just want to see him grab games a little bit more before I am convinced that he can stay. Now, moving on to the right wing, and I have gone with Brennan Johnson. I do think Brennan Johnson looks a lot more comfortable playing on the right-hand side. However, I would urge that he does have to get used to playing on the left-hand side as well, because there will be times we need him to fill in. He has to get equally as that. One thing I will say is I have got onto the guy about his sort of final ball, his decision-making in that final third. However, over the last couple of weeks, I do think it is getting better. He's got himself a couple of assists, a couple of decent crosses in there. However, with the frequency he gets himself into that position, I just want to see him carry a bit more potency. And if he does, the world is his absolute oyster. So hopefully we get a big game from Brennan Johnson. And hopefully it's not one of them frustrating games we see from him, because we see that an awful lot from this kid. You know, he can do some amazing things and then he does some ultimately frustrating things. And I'd argue more frustrating than what he does amazing. And it's so frustrating because he gets himself into very good positions. So hopefully this can be the game to breaking out the coming of age of Brennan Johnson. Now, moving on to the left wing, we will go with Gail Messi, the fifth member of the Beatles, the eighth wonder of the world. How can you not love this kid? Look, should have scored last week when he came off the bench. I think he missed a header from, 6 yards out or something like that. Maybe just not tall enough. I can't believe he missed it. And I wouldn't mind. I said just a couple of minutes before that, I'd love nothing better than a Gil Messi goal to sign off for 2023 heading into the new year. However, it didn't come. I know there's a lot of sort of mixed and split opinions amongst Gil in the fan base. Some think he's never going to be good enough. Some, like me, think there's a great player in there. You just sort of have to nurture and nourish the guy and sort of drag it out of him. But one thing I don't think anyone can argue with, when he does come in, he does impact games. He's going to be relentless in the press with Richarlison when he goes. He's like a terrier. He just wants to win that ball back and get on the ball. And when he's on the ball, I actually think I think his decision-making is getting sort of fairly good. Sorry about that. Like I said, I've been caught with a dose all week, but I do think that his decision making has been very good. You know, sometimes he knows when to pass it inside, and then the other times he knows when to go and run at his man and create something. And for me, I think he does deserve this opportunity with Son out at the Asian Games until at least sort of middle of February. You know, we need another option to come to the party. And for me, I think you have to give Gil that opportunity, especially if we foresee Kulusevski's long-term position being through that middle. And I really do hope he grabs the game by the scruff of the neck and dictates it and makes things happen and rips them open at every opportunity. There's a huge opportunity for us to be able to put some goals beyond Burnley. We put 5 beyond them earlier on in the season, and their defence is leaking goals left, right, and centre. They concede a few goals every single game. So there's a huge opportunity for Gil to really show Spurs fans what he's made of, and I really do hope the kid takes it, because you can only do so much with the kid. And then at the end of the day, it's on him when he does get the opportunities, and I hope Ange affords it to him. And then going up front, and we will stick with the man of the moment, 5 in his last 5 games. Unbelievable, Big Rich. Of course, we got to sign off the new year with a good Prue, and I want to see more of that. Of course, with Sungun, who's been the main sort of supplier and source of our goals, we really do need Richarlison to step up to the plate, whether he likes it or not, because he's the main guy up front. He's going to be carrying this club on his shoulders while Son is gone. There's going to be an awful weight of expectancy on him, and I just hope it doesn't become a burden. Hopefully he grabs that opportunity, seizes it. It's something he's been waiting for all his career. It's a dream come true. You know, number 9, number 10, the main striker for Tottenham. You know, Premier League club, some of the greats that have come before him. It's a great opportunity bestowed upon him, and hopefully he seizes that moment and carries on his sort of scoring form. One thing I will give the guy credit for, even though he missed a great opportunity before he did eventually score against Bournemouth, I've seen a lot of people very quickly turn on him when he missed that opportunity. But one thing that we sort of need to not miss when we analyse his game is his all-round game was absolutely brilliant that day, mucking out defensively, won a couple of headers from set pieces where others weren't. You know, every time the ball came into him, he's holding up, getting us up the pitch, bringing us into play where maybe others were failing on the day. And look, hopefully we keep seeing them good performances. I know Aurelio Gomez had an interview with TalkSport there the other day, and he was sort of alluding to with Richarlison, everything has to be going right in his life for it to be going right for him on the field. And I think since he's sorted out them issues, off the field issues, you can see it going right for him on that field. And interestingly, Gomez told Richarlison in the summer to get that surgery done, and Richarlison said, no, I want to be fit for Brazil. So, look, maybe Richarlison needs to listen to his peers around him. But look, that's my lineup going into tomorrow. I know some people might say, oh no, look, Kulusevski starting a wing. I could see that either. However, I just don't want to see Skip. I think with Burnley, the key is that midfield. You know, when we're out of possession, we want to get after it and win it back. But also when we're in possession, we want to show quality and have them chasing shadows all game long and basically make it become very demoralizing for them. You play Skip in there, I think it becomes a very even battle because you're only as good as your weakness in there. So for me, I think that's the midfield we should go through, and that's what it's going to absolutely hinge on. But guys, that's my predicted lineup. Please let me know your predicted lineup below in the comments section. Also, give me your score prediction, your favorite FA Cup memory. And as always, also, feel the need to wish me the best of luck. I do thrive off nice comments like that. But as always, come on, you Spurs. Or sorry, not the best of luck, best of health. And as always, come on, you Spurs. In the big hands we trust, we never stop. Let's go. FA Cup weekend, baby.